This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers have their top three wide receivers locked in for at least the next 3 seasons. That's after it was reported this morning that Christian Watson agreed to a 4-year, $110 million contract extension that includes a $31 million signing bonus. Watson has 103 catches for 2,264 yards and 20 touchdowns in 4 seasons, though he has been limited to 48 games of a possible 68 due to injury. The Packers are counting on Watson even more this year, especially in the wake of letting Romeo Doubs walk in free agency and sending Dontavian Wicks to Philadelphia in a trade.
It was definitely, tough to see those guys go because, obviously, great friends of mine, great teammates. This thing always just, keeps on moving. So I definitely think that there will be a lot more opportunities for the guys that are out there this year, myself included. So we just got to embrace that and continue to make plays when our number's called.
Packers finished up the second week of OTAs today. They'll continue their offseason program next week with a 3-day mandatory minicamp that gets going on Tuesday. Turning to Wisconsin, they've been a bit of a heater on the recruiting front in the last few days. They've added 4 players to their 2027 recruiting class, including 4-star quarterback Mekhi Williams out of Florida yesterday. Chose Wisconsin over Nebraska, LSU, and others.
Everyone should feel confident about their path forward. Exact Sciences is now Abbott, and together they will transform the way cancer is detected, diagnosed, and managed for more people around the world. They continue to help patients and healthcare providers make timely, informed decisions before, during, and after a cancer diagnosis by partnering with the industry's best minds and top institutions to transform how to approach cancer. Known for the Cologuard and Oncotype DX tests, allow Abbott to help make a positive impact in your health path forward. Learn more at abbott.com.
Well, it's game 4 between the Brewers and Giants today at American Family Field. After today, crew's going to hit the road for a pair of series out west. First stop in Colorado, then they'll head to Sacramento to face the A's. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
This is about setting that core in place long-term around Jordan Love. Now he's got Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden. He's got these guys set and ready to roll. Love pointing out this offseason that he feels like the chemistry with his wide receivers this offseason is night and day different than it was last year. And a lot of that does basically stem around Christian Watson. Obviously concerns about injuries here, but the Packers feel very comfortable about the way that he was able to rebound from those injuries. They feel like his future is projecting out even better than his past, and that is why they're willing to pay him. By the way, Laura, it doesn't also hurt that every wide receiver, the market is just skyrocketing. Right, the Packers know exactly. That. They lock him up now, and they don't have to pay more in a few months.
I'm in a great spot. I'm feeling, just blessed to, still be in this position that I'm in today. Everything's been going real good, so I got no complaints.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
That's some sound from Jeff Darlington, ESPN, earlier today, talking about the Packers' extension of Christian Watson. If you hadn't heard the news, well, now you have. Zach Heilprin hit it in the update as well. That's where we will begin tonight's show. Christian Watson spoke with media. It was either yesterday or the day before. There's a couple-hour delay when the audio hits my email inbox from Mike Clemens. So maybe it was 2 days ago and the audio hit yesterday. He spoke to the media this week, expressed his desire to be in Green Bay long-term. But for the most part, it's not like the contract was a big point of discussion. I think it was mentioned once or twice. He talked for 3, 4, 5 minutes. And how he's feeling and how the offense looks and, the team's process and progress through OTAs so far. So we'll start with Christian Watson's extension. We don't know all of the fine print details. I don't really care because I don't think we need him to break down this contract. Anytime an extension or a contract is announced, well, we'll have to wait for the detail. Well, yeah, we can, but I feel like we got a gist. We got a pretty good gist. Now, if you're like a huge cap nerd and you keep spreadsheets and, you use, your pocket protector and your calculator, Ken Ingalls, well, then, yeah, you want to see the details. But I don't think we need the fine print details to break down this contract and to talk about it. So that's our Packers thing tonight. I have like 5 or 6 Brewers things, but they're all small. They're just all little, like we could talk about this for 3 minutes. So I'll just throw those in there whenever there's empty space. In tonight's show, Zach Heilprin, our sports director, going to be here at 4:30 to talk about the Christian Watson thing. Maybe we'll pick up a Badger thing or two that we discussed with Jesse last night. And he's covering the AmFam starting tomorrow with Ebo, one of my favorite guest appearances or guest spots that we have on our network the entire year is when Zach and Ebo go down to the AmFam, get a little cocktail in them, and then call back to break down what they've seen so far with Bill. Last year, they wrangled Miss Wisconsin to come on with Bill, so I look forward to that hit tomorrow. Maybe Zach can give us a little teaser. I'll take your calls throughout from now until 6 o'clock, minus the 10 minutes that Zach is here. 608-321-1670, and the live stream is up and running. The Wisco Sports Zone app and the YouTube channel and my Twitter at Wisco Grant, the Facebook page. You can watch it in a million different places, but I'd get the app because you can always watch and listen to all of our shows there. You can listen to the podcast after the fact. It's just a good home base. Whether you're listening to Over the Line or Bill or The Camp with Zach and Jesse, it's all right there. So I'm not an overly political person, mostly because anytime I find myself focused on a political issue, I just get very stressed. I just get bent out of shape. And other than voting and, being a good citizen, there's not much I can do. It's like, did you hear what this senator said? And I'm like, oh, I hate that. But what am I going to do about it? So I'm not overly political more than I have to be. But I should, in theory, like political talk shows. I like love sports talk shows. I think they're just one of the greatest things that the human race has created. Live reaction to sports, people calling in, going back and forth. Hey, let's listen to what this person said. Like, I love it. So I should like the political talk show because that's not that different. There's guests that come on to break down stories and you listen to audio and people call in. But I don't like it. And I think a big reason I don't like political talk is because when I listen to people talk politics, especially when they're arguing, I'm often thinking, guys, I actually think you agree on most of what you're talking about. I had a conversation with a buddy. This is just last week, one of my best friends in the world. And I'm pretty sure we've never voted for the same candidate, ever. And we were having a discussion last week about how, like, we probably don't vote the same way, and yet we probably agree on, like, 90% of the thing. Like, we probably agree on everything. We might see the world differently, but we want the same things. We agree on most of the same things. Like, and that's what drives me nuts when people talk politics is you get so bent out of shape about this and that. And I'm like, guys, I actually think that 90% of the people in this country actually agree on mostly everything. And it drives me nuts. And I get a sense from everybody talking about this Christian Watson contract today that everyone mostly agrees, but we're doing a terrible job, vocalizing it. There's a lot of people that don't like this extension because, which, by the way, the details, we don't have the finite details yet, but the first announcement is 4 years, $110 million, $31 million signing bonus. Now, the way the Packers do contracts, I assume that the $31 million is the only guaranteed money in this because they really guarantee money up front, and that's it. So I would imagine, we don't know this for sure yet, but I'd imagine knowing the way the Packers and some other teams, the Steelers do this the same way. We'll guarantee the money up front and we'll reward you right away with a big lump sum of cash. But down the road, especially depending on the player, you're going to have to continue to be good and be healthy and to live up to your contract for us to continue to pay it out, right? Otherwise, and this is common around the NFL, we could cut you, we could restructure, we could do all these things, right? So basically, it's 110 over 4 years, 30 million guaranteed via that signing bonus. And a lot of people saw this today and were like, but he's hurt so much. He's injured all the time. How could they do this? How could the Packers do this? And then the other side, the other people jump in and say, well, other than the ACL, and an ACL is a big deal, but I think the ACL is, for the most part, anybody can tear an ACL. The best players in football, you take one wrong step, you blow the ACL. Oh, well, actually, and I saw Ryan Wood tweet this today, other than the ACL, he's only missed 2 games the last 2 seasons for things unrelated to the ACL. So he hasn't had the hamstring issues. He hasn't had soft tissue injuries. So you have one side, but he's always hurt. And the other side's like, well, he's not hurt as much as you think. And I'm like, actually, I think we're agreeing here, everyone. Like, we're agreeing. He needs to be healthy more. And he hasn't had a perfectly clean bill of health. So we agree, right? Like, we kind of agree that he hasn't played a ton, but if you actually look at the numbers, he's probably played a little bit more than you'd think. The ACL obviously is, a big absence, but he got hurt at the end of the year. He missed how many games did he miss last year? Like 6 or 7 at the beginning, and then he came back and was just like he never missed a step, never missed a beat. So again, I think we're mostly agreeing. And if you talk about the production, again, half of the people in this Christian Watson conversation, but he's never even had 1,000 yards. He's never even. He's never had more than XYZ numbers per game. And then the other half, I'm reading a Peter Bukowski tweet here. But he was 11th in overall grade. He was 11th in receiving grade, 9 in yards per route run, 6th in rating when target. Like, everyone's just yelling back and forth. I'm like, guys, I think we all agree. I think all of us agree. He hasn't been perfectly healthy, but he's been healthier than you'd think. He hasn't been uber productive, but he's a pretty good, effective player that helps this team win. Like, I think we all understand the player. Not perfect, not without flaw or without concern or without reservation, but pretty effective and pretty darn good. And you can see those results when he plays versus when he doesn't. And the contract, like, clearly is catering to that. Tom Silverstein tweeted this today, and I don't understand why everyone just doesn't accept it. I don't know why we're arguing about whether or not this is a good deal. Tom tweeted, not a crazy amount of money given the escalation of wide receiver salaries. This puts Watson at about $27.5 million per year, makes him about the 15th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL. If the complete total is $31 million, like I said, if the signing bonus is the only guaranteed money in the contract, then it ranks in the 20s among receivers. So just so we're all clear here, we're talking about a player who's really good, although has not put up top of the position numbers. He's banged up more than you'd like, but when he's played, he's been great. So the contract pays him to be about the 15th best wide receiver in football. And in terms of guaranteed money, he's about the 20th. Well, isn't that's the correct contract then? And I think when you factor in the fact that he's just getting paid now, typically, like, when you get paid, your value of that contract, because it's new, is normally a little inflated. You know what I mean? Like, when Matthew Stafford was with the Lions once upon a time, he's the highest paid, and you're like, well, he's really good. He's probably not number one. He's probably like 4 or 5. But because he just got paid, he's the number one. Well, the same thing is true even with a lesser contract. Is Christian Watson the 15th best wide receiver in football? Probably not. He's probably a little bit less than that, but he just got paid, so that number's going to be a little bit more inflated, just like the top of the top of the market deals. So we're talking about a solid contract, but not a top of the line contract in both average annual value and guaranteed money for a player that's very good, but not dominating at the top of his position, and he misses more time than you'd like. What are we arguing about? This is the perfect deal for him. Now, you could argue that the Packers shouldn't have extended him at all. You just play out this year, and then you could reevaluate, or you could franchise tag him. But I don't really think that's the most realistic path in most circumstances. I think if Christian Watson plays this year and plays well and misses, no less than 1 or 2, maybe 3 games, it's a long season, that he would make a lot more than this in the open market and free agency. So what are we talking about? Like, why are we? I just think this is a no-brainer. I don't think this is a slam dunk win by the Packers. I think there's some risk here. Of course, most contracts include some form of risk, but I think this is solid thinking from the Packers. Just like I think it's solid thinking from Christian Watson. It's not without risk for Watson either. What if he plays all 16, 17 games this year and is awesome, and the Packers' offense is awesome? Well, yeah, then he could have made more next offseason. But what if he plays this year and gets hurt and his numbers are way down? Well, then he wouldn't get that. Like, again, I just think this is a perfect contract for all involved. That doesn't mean that the Packers, robbery for the Packers. Russ Ball works another magical deal. And I don't think there's anything magical about this. I don't think there's anything amazing about this. I just think it's a perfectly representative contract. And this is actually one of my favorite things in sports. I don't nerd out about contracts and salary cap. And then you get into the NBA with the second apron and the bird rights and the trade kickers and all this stuff. I try to understand that as much as I need to be able to have conversations on the show. But I don't want to get any more nerdy into it than I have to, because I don't find it that interesting. I've never been a numbers guy. If you've listened to the show, that's very clear. But I think one of my favorite things about sports is when a player gets a contract that, like, perfectly matches what they are. I tweeted this earlier today at Wisco Grant. I tweeted, if you want to follow me, shameless plug. I said, I love when a very good but not great player gets a very good but not great contract. Feels very ethical and righteous. Because how often in professional sports does a guy get extended and you're like, really? That guy gets to set the market? Really? Jaylen Brown? And he's always the example, and he's a good player, so I'm sorry to pick on him, but that's always the example that comes to mind. It's like, oh, Jaylen Brown's going to be the number one paid player in the NBA. I love the contracts that are like, oh, not breaking the bank or setting the market, but a nice contract for a player that's not the best at his position in the world. Like Sam Darnold's contract. Thumbs up. Not breaking the bank, not setting the market, but a good quarterback. Obviously, he just won a Super Bowl at a good number for both the team and the player. Baker Mayfield, another one of these, right? Baker Mayfield got to deal with Tampa, where it's like, all right, he's not the best quarterback in the world, but he's pretty darn good. And the contract reflects that. Oh my God, how about that? It's like arbitration in baseball. Players hate it because they feel like, oh, the team doesn't think I'm any good. No, the team is, well, the team's trying to save money, of course, but the purpose of the arbitration process is to not pay what you would make on the open market if everyone had a bid at you. That's what free agency eventually is. The point of arbitration is this is what you've done. This is what you're worth. And I think this contract for Christian Watson is that. Do you guys really think this contract is insane or way too much? This contract as of today makes him the 15th highest paid player at his position by average annual value. Feels about right. And in a year, he'll drop down into like 20 or so, which is probably where he belongs, which is probably where most quarterbacks belong. But when they get their quarterbacks, they set the market, right? So like the 5th best quarterback in the league gets to be number 1 when they sign their deal. So it's the same if you sign and you're the 15th guy. Well, you're probably not the 15th guy. Maybe you're 18, 19, 20, 21. But when you first sign, you that bump. This makes him the 15th highest paid wide receiver in average annual value. And he's about 20th in guaranteed money. Seems appropriate. That seems accurate. He got the same contract as Alec Pierce. Can you tell me one thing about Alec Pierce? Do you know anything about Alec Pierce? No. He's a good receiver who is additive to Indianapolis's offense, which is the same thing I'd say about Christian Watson. Now, I have some reservations about the player and the team. I have no reservations about the contract. The contract is fine. My concern with Christian Watson is more, well, if he gets hurt, the team is in trouble. Not, well, if he gets hurt, the contract. I don't care about the contract. I think it's perfectly representative of the player. My concern about Watson is if he gets hurt and misses half the season, how's the team going to be able to win football games? Not, oh, but they just paid him. The contract will be fine. If he gets hurt the next year or two, then they'll cut him after 2 years, just like every NFL team can, and it won't be a big deal at all. They didn't break the bank or set the market. They paid him a representative contract for his production and his place in the league and what they're projecting him to do. 2 thumbs up. That's what contracts should be. I love in sports when a player gets like an accurate contract for them, not, I want to set the market. I want to be the number 1 guy. Well, what if you're not the number 1 guy? What if you're like the 15th or 18th best guy? Then you get this type of contract. It's good. It's a win for all involved. I don't understand why everyone's arguing about this. It's so simple to me. If you have thoughts on this, I mean, I'd love to argue. That's what the talk show is for. 608-321-1670. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
It's about availability. And it is interesting, as Andy Herman noted on Twitter, how significant the difference is when it comes to the guaranteed money. 31 for Christian Watson. Alec Pierce, who signed earlier this offseason, got north of 45. So that is a significant difference. And I think it represents the Packers trying to protect themselves smartly and Watson understanding this is a pretty significant deal, gives him some security. But certainly the Packers have most likely tied participation bonuses here, game day bonuses and things of that nature. But it doesn't change how the Packers offense operates when he's on the field. Things are different. Defensive coordinators have to approach the Packers offense differently.
A little bit from Aaron Nagler, breakout clip that he posted, Cheesehead TV, earlier today. I'll sprinkle in some more reaction from the top Packers voices in the game as the show continues. Zach Heilprin, our sports director, going to be here in about 10 minutes or so to talk about this and some other things around Wisconsin sports and to preview the AmFam tomorrow. He'll be there to cover it tomorrow with Ebo. I look forward to their appearance on the Bill Michaels show. The news of the day, and this is where we begin the show, Christian Watson signed an extension with the Packers, 4 years, $110 million, and a $31 million signing bonus. So that puts him at about $27 million per year. And I am assuming, I'm predicting, I would bet on it, just knowing the Packers and the way they operate, that $31 million signing bonus is the only guaranteed money in the thing, because that's normally the way the Packers operate. So what it shakes out to, Tom Silverstein tweeted this today, and I think it's the perfect encapsulation of how I feel about this. That makes him the 15th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL per year, $27.5 million. And if, but I expect this is the case, that the $31 million is the only guaranteed money in it, then that would put him in the 20s. He would be somewhere between probably 20 and 25 in the NFL at his position in guaranteed money. So I see all these people expressing skepticism on the internet and comments and texts and calls to Bill's show where it's like, but he gets hurt a lot. I'm like, yeah, that's why he's making the 15th most at his position. And in a year or two, he'll probably be 20 or less because that's how these contracts work. He got the contract that suits him, that fits him. Well, he's never had more than 1,000 yards or whatever. Yeah, that's what. Again, did you look at the contract and think about it, or did you just see the tweet and $110 million and go, oh, but what about his hamstring? It's like, yeah, that's why the contract is what it is. And I don't think the Packers pulled off a fast one here. I watched a clip from another radio station in town this afternoon because I walked a Quick Trip this afternoon. I had a little downtime. I went to get a Diet Coke, and it's nice outside. And I looked at my YouTube feed. I'm like, okay, is there any, Christian Watson reaction? Just trying to get ready for the show, do some prep, do some research. And there was a clip from a radio show that's on in Madison and elsewhere. But I think they do a good job talking about the Packers. And both of them were like, this is another huge win for Russ Ball. And this is another, more contract magic from the Packers. It's like, well, no, I don't know about that. I don't think the Packers pulled off some heist here. I don't think the Packers pulled a fast one on Christian Watson. I think they got a deal done that fits the player and fits the player's situation. And I don't think Christian Watson performed highway robbery on the Packers either. I think there's risk in this for both sides, right? If Christian Watson gets hurt or can't live up to the role of the number one wide receiver, well, then, this contract isn't going to be great for the Packers. If Christian Watson plays at a really high level this year and stays healthy and is dominant, well, then he probably left some money on the table by signing now instead of playing this season. So this contract could age poorly for either side, but I think this is a gamble, if you want to call it a gamble. This is a contract worth doing for the Packers because they've invested a lot in this guy. He helps this offense hum when he's out there. I think you have real reason to believe that he's got his early career soft tissue injuries behind him. The only thing that he's missed time for in the last 2 years is the ACL, and I would argue that I've never seen a player come back faster or better. When he was re-entered into the lineup this last season, he hit the ground running, literally, and just never, you'd never even would have known that he was coming back off an ACL. So I'm not saying the ACL injury doesn't count, but any player can just have the ACL pop when they plant their foot in the ground. Like, I don't think Micah Parsons or Tucker Kraft are injury prone because their ACLs went, just like I didn't think Jordy Nelson was injury prone when he popped his ACL. Like, I think that's an injury that sometimes it's not your day, and that happens. I'd be much more concerned about pulling a hamstring, pulling a groin. And really, those were issues he had early on in his career. He saw some experts, and I don't know what they did, but that's an issue that's mostly subsided, right? So the Packers signed a deal with all of that in mind, background in mind, and I think Christian Watson did too. Christian Watson probably understands, look, I have an opportunity to get $30 million guaranteed with an opportunity to earn up near 100 if I just play good football and am healthy for a couple of years. I'd have a hard time turning that down and saying, well, but if I play this year and don't get hurt and I'm awesome, well, then maybe I could, get way more. Like, I understand that. So both sides, I think, are compromising a little bit, which probably means it's a good deal, a reasonable deal for both sides. Now, my concern or my hesitation, and I struggle to say concern because you could be concerned about every single contract that's ever been signed. My hesitation, or the thing that I think about moving forward, is not necessarily, well, if Christian Watson gets hurt or he doesn't play well, the Packers are left holding the bag with this contract. My concern is then for the team. Because if Christian Watson can't stay on the field and performing at a high level, well, then their offense just isn't going to be as good. And that's my concern, not the contract. They can be out of this in 2 years if they need to be. All of these contracts work like that. You know what I mean? And I don't think this contract is going to prohibit them from signing anybody, re-signing, extending anybody. The NFL, these cap rules, guys, it's so fungible. We'll convert this to a signing bonus. We'll push out a void year. It's so easy to do that stuff. Well, that'll catch up with you. Will it? Has it caught up with the Rams? Has it caught up with some of these? Has it caught up with the Eagles? They keep doing this. Just spend cash on the signing bonuses, create void years, keep going. Like a lot of teams. Now you need to invest. It takes money to do this. It takes not just, we're going to commit a percentage of our cap. Like, no. You need to have cash money in the bank to pay signing bonuses or guaranteed money up front, which lessens your cap load, but you can do it. So, no, I don't think this Christian Watson contract is going to prohibit them from doing anything they couldn't do already. My concern would be, well, if Watson underperforms or he gets hurt, then the offense is then I question the ceiling of this team. Because you've seen the difference in this offense and the performance of Jordan Love with and without Christian Watson on the field. That it doesn't matter how much he's getting paid. That's a football thing. Whether he's making $8 million or $80 million, his impact on the football team is the same. And that would be my concern, not the contract. They can They can get out of that and maneuver money around and signing bonuses and push out void. This stuff is so easy to do. Zach Heilprin is going to join us next, our sports director here at WOZN, The Zone in Madison. Of course, he's on the camp, the best Badgers coverage around. He will join us next. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
This is about setting that core in place long term around Jordan Love. Now he's got Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden. He's got these guys set and ready to roll. Love pointing out this offseason that he feels like the chemistry with his wide receivers this offseason is night and day different than it was last year. And a lot of that does basically stem around Christian Watson. Obviously concerns about injuries here, but the Packers feel very comfortable about the way that he was able to rebound from those injuries. They feel like his future is projecting out even better than his past, and that is why they're willing to pay him. By the way, Laura, it doesn't also hurt that every wide receiver, the market is just skyrocketing. Right, the Packers know exactly. That. They lock him up now, and they don't have to pay more in a few months.
Jeff Darlington on ESPN one more time. We begin the show tonight by reacting to the Christian Watson extension. Hour 2, we'll get into a little Brewers talk. They fought back. They tried. And the Giants tried to give it away because they tried to pitch a position player in the 9th. And then the Brewers bought the tying run to the plate. And David Hamilton, God bless him, he almost hit it out of there. But not quite. So series split. I have a couple Brewers things we can get into in the second hour. Our wise sports director, Zach Heilprin, is here. Always a good perspective on everything. Zach, good evening. Nice to see you as always.
Good evening, Grant. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You want to know why I love this Christian Watson extension? It actually has nothing to do with it.
It gives you a reason to put on your glasses so that you can read stats off of a screen that you don't actually need glasses for.
That's not true.
First, do you need the glasses?
To look wiser? Yes.
Yeah.
I love this contract because it's a rare thing when a player is good but not great, so they get a contract that reflects that. It scratches an itch in me because every contract extension and contract dispute in sports, I want to set the market. I want to be the highest paid. It's like, well, what about the guys who aren't top of the market, but they're still good? Like, can we get contracts for those guys? This is one of them. I like that.
This is not a bad contract, right? It's not. I mean, when you think about where it lands, he's 16th among wide receivers. And while he has not produced like the 16th best wide receiver in the NFL, because he hasn't been out there, when he has been out there, he has produced like that. So I think that's where you're kind of just hoping that the injuries that plagued him the first 2 years don't show back up. An ACL is an ACL. I mean, we know that. Like, it happens. It's unfortunate. But the other stuff that was nagging that just kept on popping up, he went far to the west. Remember that? He went way west, down to Madison to get that taken care of. And so now he's all good. He doesn't even have to worry about it.
This is why I think people just like to argue. I know, crazy take,
really?
But I said this at the beginning of the show. This actually reminds me when people argue about politics, because I'll listen to people argue about politics and be like, actually, guys, I think you agree on most things. You're just, you don't quite realize it. You don't see it. You're missing out on this. People are talking about, well, he gets hurt a lot. Well, he's never had 1,000 yards. It's like, yeah, that's why that. Did you see the numbers? That's why he's making the amount of money. Like, that's why this contract is the way that it is. It's so easy to me. Why not for everyone else?
He's one of the best deep threats in the league still. Like, even with, like Alec Pierce is the best deep threat right now. He's averaging over 20 yards a reception in the last 2 years, and he had over 1,000 yards. But Christian Watson is right there with him. It's not that far. He's not that far back. Again, it's when he's on the field, and that has been the problem. But over the last 8 games last year, the best deep threat in the league in terms of catches of over 20 yards, air yards, 20-plus air yards, the best in the league. So maybe him and Jordan Love found something there at the end, and the opportunities are going to skyrocket, you would think, with no Romeo Doubs and no Dontavian Wicks. It's going to come down to those three and then Tucker Kraft whenever he comes back.
My concern about Watson is not the contract. My concern about Watson vis-a-vis the Packers offense is the same whether he's making $10 or $10 million a year. It's that if he gets hurt, this offense falls off a cliff. You know what I mean? So if he gets hurt in December, it's like, well, that it kind of feels like this team, which already feels like it has a hard cap on it, has a harder cap on it. Like they're already a first-round exit team. And if he gets hurt, they can't replace, they can't make up for that. They can't get over that. That has nothing to do with the amount of money that he's making.
See, the beauty of it is, I thought in the 10 game or the 8 games before he came back, or the 7 games before he came back, and Tucker Kraft was healthy, they had learned how to play offense without Christian Watson and had figured it out. And when those two came together, all of a sudden it's like, going to have Tucker and Christian Watson. You have one of the best deep threats, a guy that's going to stretch a field and scare an offense. And then you've got Tucker doing what he's doing after the catch. That was scary. And so I don't think you want to lose either one of them. They did for a time learn how to play offense without them each, right? Get them on the field together. And I can't wait to see what the ceiling is. I think you said this, the ceiling or the hard cap, whatever it is. I think it's much higher. You'd love to have both of them on the field. You never really got that last year. So we can be negative if we want to be. We can talk about Christian Watson not being out there, or Tucker Kraft not being out there. No, you're saying if he gets injured, they're in trouble. Yeah, thank you, Grant. They are in trouble if he gets injured. If both those guys get injured, if Micah Parsons gets it, yes, I agree. We can't predict injuries, and outside of that second half against Denver, Christian Watson really has been hurt these last 2 years. Obviously, other than the ACL.
So I agree with you. Ryan Wood tweeted about this today too, but it's like, you realize if you're talking to someone who's skeptical about Christian Watson and you're trying to argue for the other side, you can't say, well, if you take out the ACL, even though spiritually, I think for the purposes of the conversation, that's accurate, right?
Yeah,
anyone can have an ACL, but it's, well, during the ACL, Terry's been great. Well, yeah, okay. But you understand why that doesn't play,
Yes, I completely agree. And it's also why he's getting, average like 27 a year as opposed to a whole bunch more. And again, that's 16th. And that number's, he's going to fall down. It's a 4-year contract. Only $31 million is the signing bonus. There's no guaranteed money after that. So again, it's one of those deals the Packers like to do. They get the money up front, and then if it's good, then they can start stretching the guys out on the back end of it. But this is a very Packers deal, you would think. At least it looks like it to me.
Every talking point about Christian Watson can just be said, yeah, and that's why the contract looks like this. That's why he's getting paid 65% of what the number one guy, Jackson Smith and Jigba, is getting paid, because he's not Jackson Smith and Jigba. He's not, and that's okay. They're not paying him to be those guys, which is why I love this contract. I love these types of contracts. Zach Heilprin is here, our sports director. You were up at OTAs. Do you think Matthew Golden's going to be able to do the job they need him to do this year?
Yes. I think he is as determined as a guy that wants to prove that everyone that said he wasn't that said he was a bust in year one. It just feels like he's ready to prove that the other way around. And he just wants the opportunities. And again, this is what you do when you send 2 guys away that were taking opportunities away from him or I shouldn't say Romeo Dobbs away, letting him walk in free agency, and then sending Dontavian Wicks to Philadelphia. You're saying, you guys are our guys. You 3 are our guys. We'll throw in Savion Williams here and there and let him do the gadget stuff and some of that stuff. But you 3 are going to be our guys that are getting all the opportunities along with Tucker Kraft when he is available. This is what it is. And so, yeah, I think Matthew Golden, going back to the Texas college football playoff run that they went on, and him against Arizona State, just the stuff that he did in that game still just rings in my head every time I see him. And then you turn on that film against Chicago and the touchdown that he had, and it's like, that's what he's capable of. He is a guy that can make people miss. He can run through, he can catch, he can go over the top. He is versatile in that way. And I think we're going to see that this year, and he's going to get some opportunities to show that. And I think he will. He's talked about it. He's got a chip on his shoulder after some of the things that were said about him in year one. And I just hope that if it doesn't happen right away for him, that he kind of is able to stay even keeled and go through it. Cause I think he does play with a little bit of he's a first round. I'll just say this. He's a first round wide receiver, and you can take that for what it is.
Good. He's got an edge. You mentioned Texas, Arizona State. Is that the game where Arizona State pulled the upset?
No, it went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in Texas.
Did it go to overtime? Like,
yeah.
I very loosely maybe feel like I may have checked the score of this game.
Matthew Golden.
I don't think I watched it, but
Matthew Golden caught a touchdown from Quinn Ewers with in overtime on 4th and very long. It was like it was very long, and it was a great throw. Catch is pretty good too, but they held on and beat them because that was the guy the running back for the Giants now was their running back.
And was that the game that gave us the Kenny Dillingham like impassioned? That's their coach's name, right?
It is. Yep.
I'm just passing the college football sniff test. He had some long soundbite that made the rounds and went viral afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
he's an
I'm probably not going to watch most of these games now because there's going to be 1,000 of them, and I can't keep up with
college football playoff games.
Yes, I mean the whole season's just going to be a playoff pretty soon. We're not going to have a
regular. It's
regular.
Going to be beautiful, right? Going to be beautiful.
Every game's at night, and they're all on the internet. That's where we're trending. Every game's a night game, and they're all on Peacock. That's what we're going to.
That's Wisconsin's schedule this year. Yeah.
Well, that's true. It's because they're getting used for inventory on Big Ten Network, not because they're primetime games, but they've shifted. They've gone all the way around the spectrum from being primetime night games to being the opposite, which is, well, the Big Ten Network needs to air something at 9 p.m.
What do you have going on at 6:30 on Black Friday? What else are you going to do? You're not going to sit down and watch a little Wisconsin and Minnesota on CBS at 6:30?
I mean, I probably will.
And September 6th, Labor Day weekend, sitting there on Sunday while you're having a few brews up just Packers. Or I should say Packers. What?
What were you going to say? When I'm having a couple beers, where?
Minnesota, obviously, because that's where you go.
I thought you were going to say I was up north. I go neither up north nor to Minnesota. I don't know where that.
You live in the northwest. You live in the northwest part of the state. That's not what I was talking about. I was actually talking about Lambeau, Badgers, Notre Dame. Like that's a primetime game as well. And then obviously the following week, I know you'd be locked in for Wisconsin and directional state.
Eastern
at
Michigan,
6:15. It's not that good. I think it's Western Illinois.
Oh.
I don't know. It's one of those ones where it's like, really? Come on. I think the other one's Eastern Michigan.
Well, you'll be there. You'll be in the press box. You cover the team, and you do a great job for us, and especially on the camp with Jesse. You guys have been turning out content. I loved your reaction to the recruit Makai Williams. See, I knew it.
You got the first name. I'm more surprised you got the first name and forgot the second.
The Xavier Lucas parallels are funny. And I know you and Jesse mentioned this. People said we wouldn't be able to recruit South Florida anymore, Zach.
And then they go and get a guy who looks exactly physically like Xavier Lucas. I don't think he has the same temperament. I don't think he has the same his parents seem to have him his best interest at heart instead of theirs. So I don't need to take any more shots at Xavier Lucas. He's in a better situation for him. He's in a better situation for his family down in Miami, and they went to the national championship game, and that's all great. But yeah, he's a 6'2", 175-pound defensive back from Florida who was listed as a safety, but is going to play corner at Wisconsin and is very versatile, can play in multiple places in the secondary. So it's a huge win for Wisconsin. He's their second highest rated recruit, decommitted from Florida State, also had offers from pretty much everybody. He threw Nebraska's hat off the table last night. He put on LSU's hat, and then he took it off and threw it away, which would have sucked because we actually had already done the camp. And because everyone knew where he was going, we already done the camp. Jesse had
I had already recorded with Jesse. We had everything lined up.
Yeah. And so that would have been tough. That would have been tough if he had actually screwed everybody and just gone with LSU.
So we hear about this 2027 recruiting class, but I've been told that recruiting class has been good in the past. Let's just assume that this 2027 class is eventually going to come here and play, which
rather big assumption.
If they do, is this class that much better than some of these other classes that have been touted to me before?
No, I don't think so. The one thing that Luke Fickell has done and his staff has done, and I don't know how they've done it, a lot of hard work by Pat Lambert and the rest of that staff that is continually turning over, is recruit well. I mean, they continually do it. They didn't have a great class this year. This 26 class isn't great, but the 27 class is in large part because 9 of them are from in-state, and I believe 4 of those guys are make up for the 7 4-star recruits. And so it's possible that if this doesn't go well this fall and Luke Fickell is showing the door, that you're able to hold on to a lot of these guys because they're from in-state. Now, I don't know about the out-of-state guys. We'll see. But that would be the hope here. But, yeah, no, this class is really good, and it's good because it got started with the likes of Coors Loken, Cole Ryder, and some of these other guys in-state that then were able to go and grab and recruit everybody else. And I think that was a huge strength of this class, is getting those guys on board first, because their first 8 commits were from out of state.
You're more insulated. From in-state. You're more insulated with this class if you were to fire your coach. Probably it would be less harmful to probably, we could guess, the quality of the recruiting class. Okay, that makes sense. You're going to the AmFam tomorrow. What kind of coverage can we expect on Bill's show?
I didn't hear what you said.
You're going to the AmFam tomorrow. What kind of coverage can we expect?
Well, I'm not going to promise anything. I'm going to say that we will call back. We'll do callbacks. I don't know what kind of I don't know what kind of details you're going to get from me and Ebo. We are having a garage beer before we head into to AmFam over at TPC Wisconsin. There may be a drink or two more once we get there. But come see us. We've actually got some giveaways. We're just gonna be toting this little thing around. All you have to do is take a picture of it, and you're entered in giveaways, Badgers giveaways. So excited for that. But yeah, calling back and talking to Austin and trying to get on the air with Bill is going to be. I think it's going to be exciting. It was great last year.
It was outstanding content last year, and the more beers, the better. The more that we can bring Thorson and Heilprin to the 10-2 show, from the lakefront to the riverfront, the better, in my opinion.
I actually had a John Daly while watching John Daly last year.
You could have a cigarette too. You could really go all the way. Or is that no? That's John Daly. Yeah, I got my golfers right.
Yeah, I don't think that was the one thing I don't think you could do on the course, but he probably could. I don't think I could get away with it.
TPC. All right. Well, we look forward to your coverage tomorrow, Zach, and I won't see you. So have a great weekend. Truly, I mean it. Thank you for the time.
Thanks, Grant.
Zach Heilprin, our sports director, WOZN. He's just the best. And there's some real on the ground guerrilla type reporting from TPC Wisconsin tomorrow. Last year they wrangled Miss Wisconsin onto Bill's show. We'll see what they do tomorrow. And Austin is the gatekeeper. He's running the board. Good luck. All right, we'll take a break. I'll give you a slight recap of the Brewers game if you haven't been paying attention to what you missed today. And we'll reset the top of the 5 o'clock hour with some more Christian Watson coverage. We'll be right back to wrap up hour 1.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bill on the
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
All right, final segment here. Quick recap of today's Brewer game. I'm not going to counter program, meaning the Brewer game's wrapping up. Post-game show and Brewers Radio Network coverage probably on some of our affiliates for another 10, 15 minutes or so. So we'll stick with the Packers until the Brewers coverage is completely resumed, and then we can react a little bit to last night's game and today's game. They lost today 12-9. Brewers finished the game with, like I said, 9 runs on 11 hits. It's a terrible final line. Reminds me of that tragedy. And I think for the second straight game, maybe the takeaway is more significant than the actual result. I thought last night, you never want to lose a game 1-0. That sucks. But it will eventually happen. Logan Webb has not been having a good year, but there's still a good pitcher there, so he's probably due for a good outing. I think Pat Murphy helped him out a little bit by, I assume, willingly placing Blake Perkins into an offensive role in a close game. I suppose maybe he owed someone money. I don't know. I'm going to assume he did that of his own free will. I don't know why you would do that. Same with Gary Sanchez. So last night could have been better. But I thought the takeaway from last night was, well, maybe Robert Gasser is turning a little bit of a corner. Maybe he's figuring it out a little bit. I don't know. I don't need much. Like, can I count on Robert Gasser for 5 innings and 3 and fewer runs? Okay, well, if I could do that, like, I guess I can live with a 1-0 loss if it means Robert Gasser's trending the right way. Ideally, you'd get both. Ideally, you'd get the win and the start. Today, I think the ramifications of the game negatively might be worse than the actual result. DL Hall left with an injury. Seems to be a pec and a subscap. He's getting an MRI. It doesn't seem great. DL Hall, disabled list Hall. Sorry, we don't say disabled list anymore. That's not sensitive. The injured list. Grant Anderson took a liner off the arm. Hopefully that's not a big deal. But DL Hall got hurt. Grant Anderson got hurt. Coleman Crow threw 2 1 inning, 2 1/3 inning. Not great. So a thin pitching staff already gets thinner. Now they got to go pitch in Coors, which sucks, but you're playing against the Rockies who, hopefully aren't going to mash the ball. The Brewers offense just needs to start scoring some runs. I know it's crazy to say they scored 16 runs a couple days ago, but just consistently, I'd like the floor to be lifted just a little bit. And towards the end of the game today, they started to get it going a little bit. They had 2 runs in the 7th, 1 run in the 8th, 3 runs in the 9th. And David Hamilton, God bless him, almost tied it up with a second home run, came up a couple feet short. I also need Jackson Chourio, who had 2 home runs today. Now that's a big picture takeaway positive. That's hopefully a great sign. I need Jackson Chourio to find a way to play the game of baseball less violently. I need to see him catch a fly ball smoothly. I need to see him play around the wall without almost decapitating himself. I need him to take a swing and foul off a ball that doesn't almost break his neck. Like, I just need him to play the game a little bit less violently. That would be great. I know he's explosive and fast, and I just need him to smooth out just a little bit. We'll get a 2-minute update from our sports director, Zach Heilprin. We'll reset our thoughts on the Christian Watson extension, what it means for the Packers to begin hour 2. And then a lot of just random Brewers things and a Cub takeaway. They lost last night. We can have a little fun with that as well before 6 o'clock. The second hour of the show next, right after the headlines from Zach Heilprin. Don't go anywhere.
This is a Wisconsin Sports Zone update.
Well, the Packers have their top three wide receivers locked in for at least the next 3 seasons. That's after it was reported this morning that Christian Watson agreed to a 4-year, $110 million contract extension that includes a $31 million signing bonus. Watson has 103 catches for 2,264 yards and 20 touchdowns in 4 seasons, though he has been limited to 48 games for possible 68 due to injury. The Packers are counting on Watson even more this year, especially in the wake of letting Romeo Doubs walk in free agency and sending Dontavian Wicks to Philadelphia in a trade.
It was definitely, tough to see those guys go because, obviously, great friends of mine, great teammates. This thing always just, keeps on moving. So I definitely think that there will be a lot more opportunities for the guys that are out there this year, myself included. So, we just got to embrace that and continue to make plays when our numbers fall.
Packers finished up the second week of OTAs today. They'll continue their offseason program next week with a 3-day mandatory minicamp that gets going on Tuesday. Turning to Wisconsin, they've been a bit of a heater on the recruiting front the last few days. They've added 4 players to their 2027 recruiting class, including 4-star quarterback Mekhi Williams out of Florida yesterday. Goes Wisconsin over Nebraska, LSU, and others.
Everyone should feel confident about their path forward. Exact Sciences is now Abbott, and together they will transform the way cancer is detected, diagnosed, and managed for more people around the world. They continue to help patients and healthcare providers make timely, informed decisions before, during, and after a cancer diagnosis by partnering with the industry's best minds and top institutions to transform how to approach cancer. Known for the Cologuard and Oncotype DX tests, allow Abbott to help make a positive impact in your health path forward. Learn more at abbott.com.
Well, the Brewers had to settle for a split of their series with San Francisco, falling 12-9 today. Crew was down 12-6 heading into the ninth and got the tying run to the plate. Could not get it home. They'll be on the road now starting tomorrow in Colorado. With this Wisconsin Sports Zone Network update, I'm Zach Heilprin.
This is about setting that core in place long-term around Jordan Love. Now he's got Jaden Reed, Matthew Golden. He's got these guys set and ready to roll. Love pointing out this offseason that he feels like the chemistry with his wide receivers this offseason is night and day different than it was last year. And a lot of that does basically stem around Christian Watson. Obviously concerns about injuries here, but the Packers feel very comfortable about the way that he was able to rebound from those injuries. They feel like his future is projecting out even better than his past, and that is why they're willing to pay him. By the way, Laura, it doesn't also hurt that every wide receiver, the market is just skyrocketing. The Packers know that. They lock him up now, and they don't have to pay more in a few months.
I'm in a great spot. I'm feeling, just blessed to, still be in this position that I'm in today. Everything's been going real good, so I got no complaints.
This is where Wisconsin gathers to talk sports. Packers, Brewers, Badgers, Bucks. The Wisco Sports Show is on the air. Now, here's your host, Grant Bills.
All right, hour 2, the Wisco Sports Show presented by Kai Chevytown in Menominee, right off 94. Run some great deals on trucks, both Silverados, heavy duties, the big boys as well, and some a little smaller if you want it, the Colorado. Deals where you can get $3,000 or $4,000 off and some great percentage. Those what's the word I'm looking for? Interest rates. Thank you for the duration of your purchase and your loans. So you can check out their inventory. It's updated daily. ChevytownUSA.com. Be wise. See Kai's for the best buys. And I am admittedly a pre-owned man. It's like a car with a little character. They have over 60 pre-owned trucks in stock right now, and that number could have gone up today or could have gone down. They're always moving inventory, and they update their website to reflect that. So you can check it out. ChevytownUSA.com. Be wise. See Kai's for the best buys. All right, your Christian Watson extension reaction. I'll go right to you to begin the second hour. 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Hey, Grant. Quick question. What runs better, Christian Watson or your Chevy Malibu from Kai's?
My Malibu, for sure. But that's not to say, every vehicle occasionally needs an oil change, needs something fixed, and I think Christian Watson is no different.
And follow-up question, is your Chevy Malibu $30 million guaranteed?
No, it is not. It is not. But don't act like that's some crazy abhorrent number for a solid wide receiver. That's significantly less than what Alec Pierce got. And you're telling me that Alec Pierce is some awesome, amazing player? Look, there's question marks with Christian Watson. I totally get it, Cone. But he's getting paid as like the 15th best wide receiver. The guaranteed money makes him like the 22nd highest paid. Like, I get the questions, but the contract reflects that. You don't think that?
No, I'm like still kind of up in the air. I think this season will be big. I was kind of hoping that, he'd go into a prove it year and just ball out.
Sure.
I get that might have been more expensive in the long term, but a little safer in my opinion. So, I think Packers have done a decent enough job this offseason locking up their wide receiver room. But this is going to be the same question we've had since Devontae Adams left. Like, we kind of do need a number one guy, and I don't think they're currently on the roster.
You need a guy. So here's the thing. I don't need a guy who has, 1,200 yards receiving, but in a big game when you have a lead in the fourth quarter and you need to slam the door, do you have a guy that's capable of making those number one plays? And I think Christian Watson has it in him. I just don't know that we've seen it consistently enough, Conan. And something that I don't think Packers fans are ever going to get over is every time he goes down, we're all holding our breath. And I think that's going to be the case with him. Like his entire career, I don't think we're ever going to get over that.
Yeah, I mean, it's totally warranted. Like,
oh, no, agreed. Yeah.
That's how it's been. So I don't blame any Packer fans for that. I think that's a very fair reaction.
Absolutely. And I think that colors, how we view this contract and this extension. I don't think we're going to reach a point as a fan base where it's like, he's tough. I always know he's going to be out there I just don't think we're ever going to get there. But I'm more concerned about the football team for that, less for the contract. Like, if Christian Watson misses a month, are they going to be able to, be the offense they need to be to win games? They've proven, other than Tucker Kraft's run at the beginning of last year to not really be able to do that.
And that's why these OTAs are so important. Get Jordan Love some one-on-one time with, maybe the number 6 and 7 and 8 wide receivers, because most important week of the year.
You're not going to let this go, are you? Everyone's there this week, Cone. Your starting quarterback, Christian Watson was on the field even without a contract to begin last week. Like, this is good. I don't understand.
I just hate OTA discourse. I mean, like, we heard so much of it during the Aaron Rodgers years, and how people would be upset he wasn't there. In the grand scheme of things, I really don't think it matters. August, that training camp, that matters. But right now, like, I don't know. I think it's just a way for the NFL to churn out more content.
No, and I agree. And you do need some sort of, Cone, I appreciate it. You do need some sort of, like, let's get the players in here. Let's start to install the playbook. You can't just, say goodbye to him in January and then say hello again in August. I mean, you could, but I think it's reasonable to think you need off-season activities, which is literally what OTR. They're organized team activities. I want all of my players at all of the things. That's just my expectation. Like, that's how you become the best team. That's how you give yourself the best chance to win, is by taking every opportunity you can to practice and work together and build chemistry and do all these things. So I'm going to hold fast on that. Is it the end of the world if guys aren't there? No, but I don't know. I might look at you a little differently. Here's the thing. Like, so the Packers season ended in January. I don't remember what date it was. I'm looking at the calendar here. Was it January 10th, January 3rd, or January 10th, one of those weekends? And then you have a week of locker clean out and you say goodbye on, let's say January 17th. You have January, half of January, all of February, all of March, and almost all of April. You're telling me that at the end of April or the beginning of May, and I think it's rookie minicamp in April. So really you have, half of January, all of February, all of March, all of April, a stretch of May, and then like some time in between late June and July. All of that time. And you're telling me I can't, sorry, I can't be at that one practice in early June. Like, so does it completely screw the team if certain guys aren't there? I mean, I think if the quarterback's not there, it's, I don't think it's awesome. But I don't think it completely porks the team if not everybody's there. It's just, I just think it's a little bit of a tell. You know what I mean? Like parent-teacher conferences. This is just an example that comes to mind. I think maybe a good corollary here is parent-teacher conferences. Are you a bad mom and dad if you don't go to parent-teacher conferences? No. I think you could be a great mom and dad and never attend a single parent-teacher conference. You could be super involved with your kids. You could sit down at the kitchen table every night, go over the homework with them, ask them about the classes. You could send an email to a teacher every once in a while. Totally. But parent-teacher conferences to me are like, it's about showing up. It's about signaling. It's about doing the job of parenting. You know what I mean? Have most parents who are already, here's the thing. If you're going to parent-teacher conferences, you probably have a pretty good idea of how school is going for your kid, right? You're probably checking grades. You're probably asking about their homework, maybe helping them with their homework. If you go to the effort to go to parent-teacher conferences, you're probably doing okay. You probably don't need to be at parent-teacher conferences. But again, it's as a parent, like, are you taking every opportunity to help your kid to be there? Like, parent-teacher conferences are just like that's a perfect example. I feel like OTAs is the same thing. Like, are you a bad football player and a bad teammate if you're not there? No, because you could work your ass off and meet up with teammates and work out in the offseason, but it's just an opportunity to show up, to punch a clock, to do the things that you're supposed to do. You know what I mean? Maybe this seems like a silly example to you, but in my head, it makes perfect sense. I don't know. I want my players there. So, Cone, it's funny. In dumping on OTA discourse, I think you unwillingly or unknowingly launched 10 minutes of OTA discourse. But parent-teacher conference analogy, that's kind of fun. We've never done that one before. So I always think parent-teacher, one of my best friends is a teacher. I always ask him, how many people come to parent-teacher conferences? You'd swear that they have them once a month. I asked this guy, hey, well, we're not playing Call of Duty right now, but when Call of Duty came out, we're all losers, okay? I didn't say we weren't losers. You know, when Call of Duty first came out, it's like, hey, you want play Search and Destroy tonight? I got parent-teacher conferences. Didn't you just have parent-teacher conferences? McBrewface on the live stream says, yeah, parent-teacher conference was always the same thing. Smart kid, but just doesn't try hard enough. Oh, dude, my parent-teacher conferences, sit there and get, it was always the same thing from the teacher. I was a joy in class, but in a real pain in the neck way. Not because I was poorly behaved most of the time. Just had a mouth, as you can guess. I was always told time and place, which is why the show is so beautiful. And apply yourself a little bit. Could you apply yourself just a bit? But my parents knew that, but they would go. I had great parents. Parents were the best. They still are. They're still with us. I made it sound like they, still around. They don't go to parent-teacher conferences anymore. I think this analogy has gone on too long. I'm going to play you this clip from Aaron Nagler, She Said TV, making a good point. I'll reset some of my thoughts on the Christian Watson deal, but I'll just play this because I thought it was smart. It kind of sets up some of the things that I want to discuss. This is Nags this afternoon.
It's about availability. And it is interesting, as Andy Herman noted on Twitter, how significant the difference is when it comes to the guaranteed money. 31 for Christian Watson. And Alec Pierce, who signed earlier this offseason, got north of 45. So that is a significant difference. And I think it represents the Packers trying to protect themselves smartly and Watson understanding this is a pretty significant deal, gives him some security. But certainly the Packers have most likely tied participation bonuses here, game day bonuses and things of that nature. But it doesn't change how the Packers offense operates when he's on the field. Things are different. Defensive coordinators have to approach the Packers offense differently.
So there's a lot of discourse about the Christian Watson extension today. And Cone gave it to us a little bit. Like $30 million is, you hear $30 million. The deal essentially was reported as $110 million over 4 years and a $31 million signing bonus. You might hear that and go, but he's hurt all the time. He's never healthy. He's never had more than 1,000 yards. Can you believe it? He's making $100 million. He's never had more than 1,000 yards or whatever. He might not even have 700 yards in his career. Never even had 700 yards. Well, yeah, that's why they're giving him the contract they are. I'm not trying to call everyone dumb here because I am, look, if everyone here is dumb, then I am king of the dummies. But $110 million over 4 years amounts to $27.5 million a year. And I believe Jackson Smith and Jigba just set the wide receiver market at $40 million a year. What's 40 minus 27? It's somewhere around $13 million. The percentages would be Christian Watson making about 65% of what Jackson Smith and Jigba is making. That feels about right. Tom Silverstein tweeting today, not a crazy amount of money given the escalation of wide receiver salaries. Puts Watson, $27 million, about the 15th ranked average wide receiver in average, AAV, average annual salary, or average annual value. If total guarantee is $31 million, then it ranks in the 20s among receivers. So let's see. With this new contract, which the new contracts are always a little inflated, he's the 15th highest paid wide receiver in the NFL, which really means that probably for the meat and potatoes of most of this contract, he'll be like 20 or lower. And if the signing bonus is truly the only guaranteed money in the deal, and I expect that it is, $31 million puts him in the 20s. So he's 15th ranked, which is inflated, 20th ranked. Like, doesn't that feel right? That feels accurate. Well, he's hurt all the time. Yeah, that's why he's not making $40 million a year. He's making 27. Well, he's never had more than 700 yards. It's like, yeah, that's why he got 30 million instead of 45 or 50. That's what we have all the answers to the test here, folks. Like we're reacting to this contract and like we don't know how much he's making. You can't give him money. He's never healthy. He's never had more than 700 yards. It's like, yeah, that's why the contract matches. It's a rare thing in sport. I think of the Lady Olenna quote from Game of Thrones. Zach would have loved this. It's a rare thing, a man that measures up to his reputation. I don't know if that's the exact quote, but that was basically the gist of it. It's a rare thing, a contract that actually fits the player. Because every contract in sports now is, I want to be the number one paid guy at my position. Or, like Will Anderson or Christian Gonzalez, cornerback, New England's, going to be looking for a new contract. And he's probably going to want the number one corner money. Maybe his camp makes a point of, well, I don't just want to be the number one paid corner. I want to be the number one paid defensive player. He won't get that, but they might make the case. I want to set the market. I want to be the number one paid defensive player in all of football. All the contract disputes are like that. It's just annoying. It's just, you know what I mean? That's why I love arbitration. You hit how many home runs? Your OPS was what? You had how many wins over replacement? That number equates to this. Stamped in court. There you go. It's a meritocracy. It's not, I demand to set the market. I demand to be the number one guy. It's, I'm going to get the money that my performance would lead me to get. Now, baseball players eventually get through arbitration, then they can get to the open market. They can get to free agency where then other teams can bid on them and like that, and then you can make the big bucks. And I hope that Major League Baseball doesn't shorten that window because, man, that would suck for the Brewers, but that's a conversation for another time. I like contracts that are like, oh, that player's not the best in the world at that, but he's still pretty good, so he got a pretty good contract. You know what I mean? It's very rare. We don't get a lot of those contracts. We'll take a break. If you have anything to say about Christian Watson, any final Packers thoughts or NFL thoughts, we'll do that next. Otherwise, I want to switch over to talk some baseball things. The Brewers losing last night and today. I just have a bunch of random Brewers things that we can throw into the mix. No big overarching takeaways, just a couple random things we could pepper in through the rest of the show. But your Packers thoughts, your reaction to Christian Watson's new deal on the other side. 608-321-1670.
This is the Wisco Sports Show.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
All right, Wisco Sports Show, welcome back. Your thoughts on the Christian Watson extension? They're welcome. 608-321-1670. Got a couple open phone lines if you want to grab them. I will not make you wait. I promise. Going to get into the Brewers here in just a sec. Rick from Spencer texts in. Says, I think the Watson deal was a good one. Now we're set for the next few seasons at wide receiver with Wicks gone, who's going to be wide receiver number 4. That's the thing. You know, it's funny. We do this dance back and forth where it's like, well, finally, there's going to be opportunities and no competition for Watson, Watson, Golden, and Reed. But then as soon as we reach that point, it's like, well, who's the depth now? It's like, well, you had to you had to get rid of the depth to create, more opportunities for the guys. But now that those guys who's backing those guys up? I would feel, I don't know if I'd feel differently. I thought a lot of people thought they would take a wide receiver in this draft, and they didn't. Although Sky Moore's an interesting player. Sky Moore, Bo Melton, and Savion Williams. Those are 3 guys you should be able to patch work some depth roles for. Grainman Mike says, Grant, there are guys that show up for OTAs that they tell not to practice. Where are people getting overworked this time of year? Go watch slow pitch softball and pretend you know what's going on. Are you talking to me? I'm confused by this. Grant, there are guys that show up for OTAs that they tell not to practice. Why are people getting overworked this time of year? Go watch slow pitch softball and pretend you know what's going on. I have no clue what you're talking about, Grainman. I don't know what that means. If you go to OTAs and don't practice, I'd still rather you be at OTAs because you're there with your team. You're building a culture. You're installing the playbook. You're in meetings. I don't care if you have 2 broken legs. Like, what is that? There's nothing to do with the other thing. And also, go watch slow pitch softball. It does sound fun. Darnell's got to tell me when his summer league starts back up. Maybe I will go watch a game. Although, pretend to know what's going on. It's slow pitch softball. What do you mean pretend? 608-321-1670. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Grant, I don't have a whole lot to say about the Christian Watson contract, just because I generally don't get too worked up about football contracts one way or the other, unless it's egregiously bad. It's fine. Watson's a good player if he's healthy, and he's a guy that you want to pay and have around for a while.
Yeah. Here's the thing with football. If it ages poorly, they can get out of it in 2 years. That's the case with all these contracts. And in the NFL, well, if we need to create money for another guy, we'll just slide this money here or pay this money up front. So, like, I'm with you. I don't know that you need to get super worked up over contracts, Mad Max.
Yeah, especially because people on social media like to overreact too. They're like, what? Who got paid how much? It's just in football, like the first number that you see doesn't usually matter because there's just so many contingencies and other things built in that, and it doesn't really tell the whole story. But one thing I am worked up about today, though, is the Brewers and just the shamelessness of the stat padding we saw in the late innings today. I mean, doesn't that bother you on a day after they got shut out? They lost 1-0 in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. They had 3 really good chances to put up a run or two, but they had probably some of the worst situational hitting you've seen. And like I could live with the loss today. It's just like, all right, you throw out a rookie, he got hit hard. It happens, but but just after the way they lost last night, I think that makes today's loss quite a bit worse.
I think either one of these losses is made just fine if the other loss had been a win. You know what I mean? I'm fine losing today if you win last night and vice versa. Sweeping a 4-game series is really hard. I do also, the Giants have just pukey vibes, and that's a bad team, but they do have good players. Some good players, at least. Like, their top prospect looks legit that they called up. And then Devers is a puke and he's fat, but he can put the bat on the ball. And Adames hits the lights out at that ballpark. And Chapman's been around forever. And Webb wasn't having a good year, Mad Max, but are you shocked that he had an awesome outing last night? Like, I'm not. He was probably due for that.
Yeah, he's shown that before. I mean, I think we should have shown a little bit more life against him. But, yeah, he has shown that he's been that type of pitcher before. So I wasn't shocked by it.
I was more so frustrated with Brewers hitters today being flummoxed early by Adrian Hauser. Just a lot of watching pitches. It's like, you waiting for something up there? I know Jake Bowers took a nice walk. He worked a nice walk. And then the next couple guys, Garrett Mitchell watches strike 1, strike 2. Renifo watches strike 1. It's like, hey, you guys, he's throwing like 92. You can get the bat off your shoulder against, that puke Adrian Hauser. Literally, I'm surprised he didn't throw up today. It was warm.
Yeah, but in a way, as frustrating as these last 2 games were, sometimes we need a series like this just as fans. And I think hopefully the front office does too, because hopefully there's some sort of wake up calls like, yeah, things are doing well. We're in first place, but this team is so far from a complete product. There's still a lot of things that need to be done to put this team on the level, or at least closer to the level of the Dodgers. I don't think we're ever going to match the Dodgers on paper, but if we can just make a few upgrades at certain positions, I think we can at least give them a better fight this time around.
Skubal, yes or no, before I let you go?
I'm open to it. I'm not going to say yes or no right now, but yeah, I'm not completely writing off the idea. I think if things play out, if Henderson is out for a while, and just some of these other injuries that are starting to stack up are, those guys are out for a while, I think you do have to take a look at it.
Hey, have a good weekend, Mad Max. I'm going to be off tomorrow, so we won't chat. Yeah, have a good one. I saw Jeff Passan today. I don't remember where I saw it, but Jeff Passan in a story. Just let me search it here. Maybe it'll pop up. Basically wrote that the Brewers should go get Skubal, and just for once they need to stop being the Brewers. That makes sense. Like, his point was basically like, this is the season and this is the moment where the Brewers need to, for once, stop being the Brewers. And I understand that. We've brought this up. I brought this up. It's like, well, maybe if there ever was a year to make an in-season trade to bring in a piece and to try to go for it a little bit more, maybe it would be this year. Because you've been close and because you have so much ammo in the farm system. Like, all right, that tracks. That makes sense to me. Now, the right player needs to be available and for a price that, isn't completely insane. Like, yeah, you need a trade partner and it takes 2 and blah, 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 blah. Yes, all of those things. I don't understand where the national media gets off. And I say national media tongue in cheek. But I don't understand where the national media gets off saying like, oh, the Brewers are going to be the Brewers again. They're not going to do anything. And I'm getting a little sick. I'm getting a little frustrated. And we don't do this on the show a lot. I think it's very lame, hayseed behavior to be like, did you hear what the national media was saying about my team? But in this instance, actually, the national media is annoying me a little bit because this season has been just a tremendous culmination of all of these moves and things that the national media hated. They hated when they dealt Corbin Burns. They hated when they dealt Delvin Williams. They hated this last offseason. Oh my God, I can't believe they're trading Freddie Peralta now. They let Willie Adames go. Can you believe it? Oh, they traded Caleb Durbin. Every single one of those moves worked out in the Brewers' favor. Corbin Burnes probably isn't going to pitch until September. He's made 8 starts since signing a $200 million deal. What did I see last night? He had a setback coming back from Tommy John. I don't know if it was a back or whatever, which isn't surprising. He looks fat. Setback. Here it is. Corbin Burnes suffers a lat strain during his recovery from Tommy John surgery, setting his new target return date for September. Burnes has made just 11 starts so far in the first 2 years of his 6-year, $210 million contract. Brewers win. Freddie Peralta looks like Freddie Peralta. Shocker. Brewers win. Devin Williams has been ass everywhere he's been so far. Brewers win. Kyle Harrison, Caleb Durbin, first round knockout, majority decision. I don't know if those words go together. I don't know boxing. And now the national media wants to get all chesty and be like, oh, well, are the Brewers going to trade for Skubal? They'd never do it because they're the Brewers. It's like, oh, so they just, it's just all the moves they've made that you've hated have worked out really well. And now you're okay. All right. Jared in Manitowoc texts in, for the love of God, get rid of Renifo. I might have some insight on that, Jared. We'll pick that up on the other side. We'll talk Brewers, get some reaction to today's games. I'll get you an update on some of the pitching injuries, and I also have a Cubs tidbit that I mostly just want to laugh at Craig Counsell. It's Thursday. The vibes are good. We'll be right back.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bill on the Wisconsin Sports Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 5 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 4 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I mean that's always the goal. At the end of the day, you gotta put up results, and the team's here to win games. Obviously tonight was a tough one, but I feel like again that was the right step in the right direction. So hopefully, keep stacking some games, and just keep pounding the zone and limiting walks.
Had the Brewers won today, I'd actually be okay big picture with last night's loss. Because if Robert Gasser's slowly going to come back to us and be a viable starter, even a bottom of the rotation guy, great. Because God, they could use him. Because Brandon Woodruff, he's off on a side quest. He's off doing his thing, just getting ready for the playoffs, which is fine, I guess. It's far from ideal, but I understand why. Priester might not pitch this year. Logan Henderson, it seems like, is going to be out a little bit longer than expected. Shocking with this organization. They need Robert Gasser to just not suck. And last night he didn't suck. In fact, he was pretty darn good. Certainly better than Coleman Crow was today. The Brewers let a game get out of hand today, and by the time I think they finally locked in and started him out to come back, it was too little too late. 608-321-1670, Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Well, if it isn't my old friend Grant Bills.
I was thinking about you this morning, Eric, driving in on the highway in Madison. I'm like, I think Eric's schedule might have switched around. I haven't heard from you as often, which is fine. There's more important things in life than calling a radio show, but I'm glad to hear you're doing okay. God, that's just awful timing to lose a phone call. Call back, Eric, if you can. I swear to God, I was driving in this morning. I was listening to Billy Joel, which doesn't matter, but why leave it out of the story? And I'm thinking, I haven't heard from Eric. And I used to hear from Eric every day or close to every day. And I haven't heard from him in a while. So I hope he calls back in. Otherwise, this is going to be just a big F of a couple of minutes. And I know that the second I start to talk about something else, I'm going to see that phone light up again. Grainman Mike says, my Brewers nugget for you, Grant. If I told you the Brewers were going to score 33 runs in 4 games and asked you how many wins there would be, my answer would not be 2. Going after Skubal is sounding a lot better at this moment. That's the thing, and Scott mentions this on the live stream too. They almost need another starter. After Harrison and Miz, who knows who would start in a playoff series? Patrick, Drowan, maybe Gasser, maybe Woodruff. Well, here's the thing. Forget the playoffs, Scott. Because in the playoffs, if you can throw, Miz and Harrison game 1, game 2, this current rotation actually plays way better in the playoffs than it plays right now. How are you going to get through the month of June and July? You know what I mean? And that's assuming that when Henderson's back gets right, he's actually able to come back and then he doesn't have issues for the rest of the year. So yeah, they're a 2-starter team right now. And it's crazy. And Matt Arnold's got to be pissed because for the second straight year, I'm sure he's thinking, how many starting pitchers do I need to put on a roster? I had like 10 and we're down to 2.5. So if I was Matt Arnold, I'd be frustrated. It's like I'm penalized for putting so many starters in the organization because they're all hurt. 608-321-1670. Let's try this again. Wisco Sports Show. Who's that?
Hey, Grant, Clemhead Mike.
Hey, Clemhead. How's it going?
Oh, pretty good. How are you?
Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm off tomorrow. So today feels a little bit like a Friday. I got to go to a funeral, so it's not like it's a somber occasion.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, it's I appreciate that, but it's okay.
And at my age, I've been to so many. I can't remember all the funerals I've been to. So many.
I was at a wake on Sunday too. I hadn't been to a funeral in a while, but it's like these last 2 or 3 weeks have gotten busy all of a sudden, which is kind of effed up.
Yeah. Well, I missed most of your show today. I was at the doctor's office and I told him I wanted a vasectomy, and he said with my face I didn't need one. So I'm just a little sad right now.
You need someone to pay. You need someone to pay you a compliment to make you feel better. Have you heard that Norm joke where it's like, honey, I look in the mirror and all I see is a fat, lumpy, bald old man. I'm feeling bad about myself and I really need someone to pay me a compliment. So his wife says, well, your eyesight's darn near perfect. Yeah, just kind of. That's what that made me think of.
I've heard most of Norm's jokes, but I haven't heard that one. But,
I don't know if it's originally a Norm joke. I think I might be a Rodney Dangerfield type joke. Probably. I don't know. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, we got to have something to laugh about after that hideous game today. We'll be okay. I mean, I've said this many times before. Sometimes you get the bear, sometimes the bear gets you. They'll come back and they'll be great. They just had a bad hiccup, but they were really pressing today. I think they were embarrassed about not scoring yesterday because, God, these guys were swinging at pitches right in their face. Contreras swung at a pitch over his head. I mean, these guys were. Where's that famous plate discipline we've been, famous for all year? The plate discipline was terrible. These guys are swinging at garbage. These guys are swinging at pitches a foot outside and a foot high above the strike zone. I was actually embarrassed for these guys. How come your pro is?
I'm with you about sometimes it happens. The Giants are an interesting opponent because they stink. They're like 15 under 500, right? Like they're having a really disappointing year. But they're not having a disappointing year because they don't have any good players. Like Rafi Devers, Matt Chapman, Willie Adames, Arise. These guys are, I guess I don't know how to classify them. They're players that have been good or good enough to get big contracts that aren't performing up to their contracts, but they're not horrible players. In fact, I think they're pretty good. It's just not gelling as a unit. So I think these last 2 nights were an example of, Webb finally got on track. And, I don't even know who put the swings together for the Giants. That's what's frustrating is it didn't even really feel like it was all Devers, Chapman, and I guess Adames today did a little bit. But you were probably due for that team to play better than they did in the first 2 games. The problem was you should have been able to get either last night or today.
Yeah. Well, Devers is he must have been just so embarrassed by his performance the first 3 games. Just hideous. I didn't get to see what he did today. So, there are some good players, really good players in that team. You're right, good players, and they're just playing badly. But that Webb, I don't understand what he has with the Brewers. It's impossible, almost impossible for one pitcher to be so good against one team.
I don't know what his split. Well, now I need to look up his splits. Jacob Webb has been Clemhead. I appreciate it. Have a good weekend. I got to run. Okay.
Right. Thanks, Grant. Yeah, you too.
Yeah, have a good one. And I'm going to take another call here in 30 seconds. Jacob Webb has been a very good pitcher before. I don't know. Does he have any hardware? Like he's never won a Cy Young or anything, has he? Am I thinking of the right Webb? No, who's Webb Giants? It's not Jacob. Logan Webb. Yeah, that makes a difference. Logan Webb. Has been a really good pitcher before. I don't know if he was an all-star in 24 and 25. Okay, debuted. So no, he hasn't been like a Cy Young runner-up or anything, but he's been a good pitcher. I don't know about his splits against teams. I don't know, but he certainly had the Brewers number last night, and it's just frustrating. It just seemed like they were eventually going to get some opportunities. It just took them 7 innings. It's like you guys got to create opportunities earlier on, even if you're not converting. You don't need to score in the first inning, but I can't watch Yelich strike out 3 straight pitches to start a game again, or 4, or whatever it was. I think he fouled one off. Wisco Sports Show. Who's this?
Well.
Hey, Eric.
This is my old friend Grant.
It's been a while. I was thinking about you this morning. What's new? What's been going on?
Well, you said there isn't anything. You said there's things that are more important than calling a talk radio show.
Yeah.
And there's not. Not really.
Thank you. Thank you. I agree. I don't know why I said that.
So, yeah, my schedule's changed a little bit, Grant, so I haven't been able to. I'm listening to your show, but I'm listening to it at work.
Sure.
I roll in a little bit later in the morning now, So, and it's just because I'm old, Grant.
That's got to be nice, though.
Yeah, but I stay. Keeps me out of some, certain situations I just like to avoid.
Sure, keeps you out of trouble. Well, I like that.
This is, but it's come at a cost, Grant. I haven't been able to call and talk to you, So, so here we are, and you're talking about the Brewers, and I think the national media, they're trying to kind of wedge their way in on your joy a little bit here.
Say that one more time. They're trying to weasel in what?
Your joy, like you've got emotional Bitcoin now, and
that's true.
This thing's starting to look pretty good, and there's a chance. And they're trying to wedge their way into that and ruin it.
I'm just trying to weigh if there ever is a season where the Brewers are going to go for it and trade a couple of they're never going to go all in and burn their entire farm system. So realistically, we're talking about probably making one trade for a very good player. If there's ever a time to do that, would it be this year? And it's difficult, Eric, to weigh these things. It's like, do I want my team to really lean in and to try to do something? Because that just raises the stakes.
Right. And I don't know if you listened to my call this morning. Did you hear my call this morning?
I did not. I'm sorry.
About the Steve Miller Band being the halftime show at the season opener, on Facebook. It's, and the Steve Miller Band is really perfect for the Green Bay Packers because if you listen to a Steve Miller song, it starts out pretty good. Like the first half of the song's pretty good. But then the second half, it's just repeating the same, and they don't change it at all.
That is true.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing over and over.
So the Steve Miller Band is kicking.
Really
okay, I didn't know anything about this. Steve Miller Band kicks off Celebration Weekend. They're going to play outside Lambeau Field Saturday night. I didn't know that. How old is he?
No, it's totally not true. It's totally not true. It's clickbait. Not happening.
I'm looking on the Packers website.
Yeah, are you really?
Yeah. Steve Miller Band kicks off, but I think this might be from this might have already happened, I think. Yeah, it looks like it already happened. There's pictures of it already happening. Okay, so that makes more sense. Interesting, where clickbait is just recycled current events.
Right. So, but I just thought Steve Miller Band, his songs really roll with the Packers really well. But the Packers are doing well. They signed Christian Watson. That's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, you as a Vikings fan, Vikings fans have to have the funniest opinion of Christian Watson because of how his career started in 2022.
Well, right, and his career ain't over yet. I mean, he had a good stretch here, but, I mean, chances are, it could go downhill. I don't want him out on the field. He actually showed up and showed what he could do.
He's good. He's a good player. He's not the best wide receiver in football, but when he's out there, he's really darn good.
He's really a good wide receiver. And the Vikings with our new quarterback, I don't know a lot about this guy, but he did play for the Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a top 10 quarterback for the Cardinals. So he can't be all that bad.
No, I think Kyler's going to be good for your Vikings, Eric. The Cardinals are the Jets, but nobody talks about them that way.
But we'll see. Well, you have a great you going on vacation, Grant?
No, I'm not going on vacation. I'm off tomorrow. I have to go to a funeral.
Oh no.
Which I hate. Yes. Have a good weekend, Eric. We'll have to talk again soon.
Well, you have a good weekend. We'll talk soon, Grant.
Thank you, too. I hate, so here's the predicament I'm in. I feel like I need to tell people that I'm going to a funeral, otherwise I'll get crap for not being here tomorrow. But then when I tell people I'm going to a funeral, then they're like, "Oh, I'm sorry." It's like, no, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine. Please don't yell at me for being gone tomorrow. I'd rather be here and not, going to a funeral. I like the Christian Watson deal. Circle all the way back. It fits him. It fits a guy who gets hurt and is far from perfect. So he gets a pay bump because going from rookie to second contract, you're going to get a pay bump. But yeah, not a perfect player, not a superstar. That's why the contract is what it is. I want to laugh a little bit at the Cubs and Craig Counsell. We'll do that next to wrap up the show.
This is the Wisco Sports Show with Grant Bills on the Wisconsin Sports Zone Radio Network.
The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 3 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 2 minutes. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 1 minute. The Wisco Sports Show will resume in 30 seconds.
I mean, we're not winning a lot of baseball games right now. I mean, that's so I don't know what the numbers are. You know, and we're not playing well enough to win a lot of baseball games. You know, you have to earn it, and we're not earning it. I mean, I don't. You know, it's not some string of massive bad luck. We're not earning wins, flat out. So winning series, just putting good baseball together, we got to do it. You know, months. You know, the trajectory of the season is. You know, it's been an odd season in terms of the streaks. We know that, but we're just not playing enough good enough baseball to win games.
Craig Counsell last night. Cubs lost again in extras. I think was last night in extras. Or was that the night before? Losing track. Last night was actually a net neutral for me. I was frustrated with the Brewers loss, but to be honest, I think I got as much joy out of the Cubs losing as I got frustration out of the Brewers losing. Well, it's a net negative or a net neutral, I guess. Two things close each other out. I saw this tweet from our buddy Bart today. I thought it was a good one. His best in a while. He tweeted at Bart Winkler Show. I almost feel bad for Craig. He knows he's a fraud, and I don't think he likes being a fraud, but he's so deep into the bit of being a good manager that he's cursed to keep up with appearances. I think this is accurate. I don't know that Craig was ever a good manager. Well, Grant, look what he did in 2018. Okay, well, he had MVP Christian Yelich, bullpen that was outstanding, Corey Knebel, Jeremy Jeffress, Josh Hader. They had an off day every Thursday. So, they got hot in September. Well, of course. I should hope so with those ingredients. You won one playoff series. You won one playoff series against the Rockies. Congrats. After that, Never won another playoff series ever in Milwaukee. Won a lot of regular season games. Okay, sure. Always had an outstanding bullpen. Always had Josh Hader, Devin Williams. And then in the latter portion of the Council years, had prime Woodruff, prime Burns, won a Cy Young, by the way. Prime Freddie Peralta. Eric Lauer was, good for a stretch too. I always laugh because I'll throw that name in there. Like, yeah, I should hope you win a lot of games too. Look at what the Brewers have done now without him. Yeah, no wonder he won games. And I think now he's getting paid $8 million, and everyone's like, Craig, when are you gonna do the thing? When are you gonna show your worth? When are you gonna? And I think Craig's starting to know that he just doesn't have it. As Bart tweeted, Craig knows he's a fraud, and I don't think he likes being a fraud, but he's so deep into the bit of being a good manager that he's cursed to keep up with appearances. Let me run you this soundbite back one time, and I'm going to pause it as we go through because I got to point something out. Craig is up there, another losing press conference, and he's trying to say something. He's just trying to fill an answer. How can I say 45 seconds worth of things? Okay, here we go.
I mean, we're not winning a lot of baseball games right now.
Okay. All right. So we're not winning. I'm his inner monologue. Okay. We're not winning baseball games. Okay. What do I say next?
I mean, that's so I don't know what the numbers are.
What the numbers say.
And we're not playing well enough to win a lot of baseball games.
Okay. So there's some accountability. We're not playing well. What can I say next? Let's talk about winning streaks.
You have to earn it.
Yeah.
And we're not earning it.
Yep. Okay. Good, Craig. All right. What do I say next? We're not earning it. That's good accountability.
I mean, I don't. It's not some string of massive bad luck. We're not earning wins.
We're not earning wins. All right. Continued accountability. Okay. Well, how long have I talked? 23 seconds. I should probably say a couple more things.
Flat out. So winning series, just putting good baseball together. We got to do it.
Yep. All right. Now, what else can I say?
Months. The trajectory of the season is. It's been an odd season in terms of the streaks. We know that. But we're just not playing enough good enough baseball to win games.
God, I'm looking at the MP3 file here, the visual, and you can just recognize the shapes of the sound waves. I can just pick out the ums. There's one. Is that one right there? That's one. Is this one?
So
that's a so. Is this an That's one. This should be one.
One
at the beginning, obviously. This guy. Poor bastard. I'm with Bart. Again, that's why I laughed at that tweet. I almost feel bad for him, and that I think he knows that he does not have what the Cubs are looking for and what they paid him for. I think he knows. Thank you. And I think he knows. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I think he knows. And he's gotten nothing. And this team isn't perfect. Yeah, they're missing a lot of pitchers, but look at the Brewers. So are the Brewers. The Brewers are a two-starter team. And their two lead starters are certainly better than, 1 and 2 for the Cubs. But the last two nights, you got a good appearance from Tyone, and they got a pretty good appearance from Colin Ray last night. And the offense just nothing. It's not that they haven't invested. They went and got Kyle Tucker last year. That wasn't good enough. Well, we need someone with better intangibles. Okay, we'll go get Alex Bregman. Well, that hasn't worked. And the funny thing through it all is like, this is why you spend $8 million on a manager, is to take all of the parts and create something that's greater than the sum of the individual parts. And Craig doesn't have it. And I think he knows it. And he's just trying to keep up appearances now, honestly, I think is what's going on. I will be gone tomorrow. We'll have a best of show, some of the best segments from this week. I got to go to a funeral. Sorry. Otherwise, I'd be here. I'm staying next Friday. I have a bachelor party to go to, and I could leave in the middle of the day. But no, I will not, because I'm missing tomorrow already for a personal reason, which will not be very fun. Funerals suck. But I'll be gone tomorrow. Full week next week. Best of tomorrow. Listen to Bill. Austin will be in with Bill tomorrow. Zach and Ebo checking in from TPC, the Amp Fam. That'll be good. Lions guest as well, and Ryan Wood at 10:30 tomorrow to break down the Watson extension. I will talk to you